Hey everybody, it's Patty with Giddy Things. As you can see, I am ready for a snooze fest. Again, I'm going to take off my glasses. Ah, that feels so nice. It's kind of like a fresh drink of water or something. Have you filled out your FAFSA? Remember that from part 1 of this video series about post-traditional students returning to college, reinventing themselves, following their dreams, just learning new skills for fun? Even imagine that. Well, I want to sort of slow down a little bit, and the nighttime motif is perfect for that, and talk to you about how to get started with sort of a fun approach to getting back into not formal education, but into lifelong learning. So, did you know that there are approximately, I don't know why we can't count them specifically, but approximately 124,903 public libraries or school libraries or university, college libraries, military libraries altogether aggregate in the United States. Your first line of education, if you would like to get back into the education circle, into the learning and curiosity circle, is a library card. Do you have one? Get that before you fill out your FAFSA, and then fill out your FAFSA. Remember, FAFSA at studentaid.gov. But the library card is unbelievable. I mean, you may feel like you're going to a theme park if you go to the public library and see, if you haven't in a while, what's available. For some of you who are voracious readers and purchase books and things like that, you can also download an app, the Libby app. I'll link in the description below to give you some more information about that. But explore your local library, the main branch and the auxiliary branches, wherever you may be, because a lot of people a lot of people also don't know that the library offers a lot of free online classes. Our local library and a lot of other local libraries use a learning system called Universal Class. You can learn all kinds of cool things on there, from really professional leaning things to soft skills like communication, professionalism, teamwork, to math and English and knitting and crochet. Nobody's ever been able successfully to teach me to crochet, but that's a whole different Oprah. Anyway, the library is a good first place to go if you're a little nervous, especially about the idea of going back or going to, for the first time, higher education. It also gets into something that I promised this channel would touch on, which is adult basic education skills, what I like to call transitional learning. So you haven't been to high school for a long time, or you didn't finish high school. That's fine. You're valuable, you're wonderful, you have all this incredible lived experience to share with people. You bring something incredible to the table, and it's important that you know your worth. It's super important. So, this value that you bring into the learning experience is going to surprise you. The things that you might intuitively already know, the things that you can share with others that will provide them with a healthy way to learn. You become a part of a community when you go to the library. You start seeing the same people over and over again. So if you're nervous about all of this idea of going back and enrolling in college and the financial side of it, which again, what are you going to do? FAFSA, studentaid.gov. That's what you need to do. There's no, again, obligation to do anything. You just get to see what your financial summary is. I think they call it student summary now. It used to be called student aid report. And you'll see it may still be EFC. I think it is estimated family contribution, which doesn't mean that you need to call your family. It just means how much the federal government expects you to contribute to your education. Because again, a well-educated populace is the answer to most of the problems that we have in our country and globally, is getting people on board to make grassroots efforts to love our country the way that she deserves to be loved. So, the public library, what do you do to get a library card? You just go in and fill out some paperwork. You may need to bring your driver's license. Perhaps sometimes a library will ask you to bring like either a utility bill or just a piece of mail that has been delivered to your home address. But most of the time, the most recent library card I got, yes, I have more than one. Um, I just had to have my driver's license with my address in the county that I live in on it. So it's absolutely free. And I love this concept. In my main branch of the library where I live, I saw this sign. They do so many cute things too. And you can borrow more than books. Some libraries let you borrow utensils. Some libraries let you borrow hiking gear. If you are into the utensils or for cooking and things like that, that there's all kinds of stuff that you can borrow. Musical instruments sometimes from the library, depending on how well it's funded. And when we use the library, we get the library more money because that's how their budget increases, is when they can prove that people are using the library. And at my local library, they had this cute sign out that says, "My library card can beat up your credit card." And boy, is that true. There's so much that you're paying for that you don't need to, that you get from the library. I mentioned earlier the Libby app. If you just go on the Google Play Store or the Apple equivalent, iTunes, is it still iTunes? I'm not sure. But if you go to that store, um, it's a free download, and it's Libby. If you type that in, and you can get audiobooks. You may have to wait a little bit because it's a library and people are borrowing them and they have the rights to lend a certain number of copies, but it's kind of cool to be in the wait list. I was reading a book and got done with that, and then I was like, oh my gosh, the book I really want to read, it's going to be a couple of weeks before I get it. And lo and behold, I was first in line. I didn't wait that long, to be honest, and I'm constantly, reading books and picking out the next one. I haven't paid for a book in quite some time now. Another good way to get a hold of books, if you really want to own the book, if you think that you'll read it again, is thriftbooks.com, which I will also link in the description below. It's an incredible way to get books, and there's tons of them. There are ones that I will list in the description below also that are helping young people to get jobs, that are helping young people to um, I don't know what the right word is for this. I don't want to use rehabilitate, but people who have had trouble and sorrow in their life to get back on the happy train, the peace train, and sell books in the process. So there's all kinds of things at your local library that you can use. You can go there, our local library, and I don't know about others, but our local library, you can use ancestry.com for free as long as you're in the library, because they have an institutional membership to ancestry.com. And again, and I want to really stress this as I get ready to close this video, they're a community of people who use the library for everything from bringing their kids to have book time and reading with their children, to have people reading to their children, to have movie nights for adults that are free where they show movies that they've bought the license to. And, it's just for free. Sometimes some will pop popcorn. Sometimes you can bring your own snacks. But it's the hub of your community. And my goodness, do we need community involvement right now. I truly believe, and the library is such a valuable resource for this, I truly believe that if we connect with our community through the library, the kinds of people who love to go to the library, again, everyone's valuable, but the kinds of people who love to go to the library tend to be pretty interesting people to know. And you can make lifelong friendships at the library in a safe setting where you can just meet up at the library until and unless you feel comfortable meeting for coffee or tea or having lunch together or making lunch and having lunch on the outside of the library or finding a good public space to do that. Another important point to note is that many community colleges and universities in your area want you to come on campus and use their library facilities. For example, most community colleges, well, pretty much all community colleges, are taxpayer funded in part. So that means that people who are taxpayers can come on campus and use facilities. You can get meeting rooms sometimes for absolutely free if you schedule that with the college, and you can use the library, which is pretty cool. And you know what else libraries have? They have printers. Cha-ching! Right. So you don't have to use a printer and your own ink and all of those things. Sometimes there's a small fee to use the printer, sometimes not. It depends on the library. But if you really get yourself invested in becoming a library patron, someone who goes to the library and uses all of the wonderful, there's magazines too, all of the wonderful free things. They have internet little rooms where you can go and use the internet if you don't have that at home, or if you just want to get out and be in a room with some people and have a silent, kind of quiet time to be around people, but to do your own research or to look at things that you like. Bring some headphones and or some earbuds from the Dollar Tree. I'm sorry, the Dollar's Tree, the Dollar's 25 tree, and listen to things without disturbing others. It's an amazing thing. I'm going to end with a story, as I usually like to tell a story during the videos. When I was a little girl, I can still smell my local library when I lived in Louisiana. And then we moved to Texas and came back to Louisiana. And I can still remember the first time my mother took me to the library to check out books, to get my own library card and to check out books from the library. Now, library cards now are really sophisticated. They have barcodes and all that kind of stuff, and they're really pretty sometimes. And here's the thing. When I was a kid, I may even link below in the description a picture of what library cards used to look like, because they had this little staple in them and they'd run them through through a little machine, like credit cards used to kind of be run through. And one of the things that was so exciting to me is every single Saturday, my mom and I went to the library and I could get as many books as the library allowed. And often that's a lot of books. And I would just devour them through the week. And of course, it started out with things like Harold and the Purple Crayon, and then moved on to things like Little House on the Prairie. And then I got invested in series of books and Jane Austen and the Brontes and just all different kinds of Kurt Vonnegut, all different kinds of authors. But coming back around to that story, I thought nothing like that could ever exist. I was probably 6 years old when we first went, because we had moved back to Louisiana, when I first went to that local library, and it was magical. It was like a theme park. The librarians, and they'll do this often, even started to learn the books that I liked. And then when I came in to the library, they would say, "Oh my gosh, Patty, we got this new book and I think you'll love it." And I built a community in the library. I made friends in the library of all ages. It's a great place to take kids to interact with senior citizens and with silver citizens, we'll call them, and all kinds of wonderful people, and get them socially acclimated to realistic human beings instead of passively intaking some of the, what shall we say, overdone stuff on social media. So it's a really healthy and can be a really wholesome thing to do. And it's the power of literacy. And if you're nervous about the idea of starting some kind of college program, whether that is a short course in phlebotomy, it doesn't take long to learn to be a phlebotomist. That's a person who draws blood for medical tests, or whatever else it is you want to do. I've mentioned medical coding, administrative assistance, all kinds of things. And a lot of these are remote jobs as well. If you can get into the library and remind yourself the beauty of learning and experiencing the library, you'll feel like I did when I was a little kid, right? And I still feel that same way every time I go to the library. Can I tell you a little secret? We're going to get up close. I get so excited when I go to the library that usually the first stop I have to make is the little girl's room. Just going to tell you that. TMI, but nothing is TMI with us because we're friends. I hope you'll take that advice before you even think about moving into a community college setting. Just go to the library. It's a peaceful, lovely, joyous place to be, and it's free. Go in peace and love to serve others. Know how loved you are.